Can someone please write some sort of story where Marchesa gets the One Ring and becomes the Lord of the Nazgul? Because that's what this deck is based around, and it sounds incredible. Let's do a deck doctor. Speaking of the One Ring, anyone who orders anything from my website this week has a chance at winning this copy of the One Ring. So go ahead and check that out. And let me know down below if you would be interested in me building a deck ahead of time and listing that on my website rather than you choosing what I'm going to build. Let me know down in the comments. My first cut in this deck is Bog Wraith, mostly because you've already got the 9 Nazgûl, and there are just better Wraiths that you can put in, such as Witch King, Bringer of Ruin. This is also very flavorful as well. Just think about Marchesa riding this thing. That would be so cool. My second cut is Red Elemental Blast, mostly because you've already got Counterspell in the deck, and I just don't think that in a non-mono red deck, you really need to have this in there. I am going to replace that with Search for Azcanta, because this deck has a very big graveyard sub-theme that makes a whole lot of sense, and we'll be looking at that moving forward, but I do think that this is a good include for this deck. My next cut is Wizard's Retort, mostly because you don't have a whole bunch of wizards in the deck because we're focusing on Wraiths. And I'm going to replace that with Buried Alive. This will let you look for your Nazgûl, get them into your graveyard, and then use other cards to get those onto the field. My next cut is Mastermind's Acquisition because there is no sideboard in Commander. This essentially is a harder to cast Diabolic Tutor, and you all know how I feel about Diabolic Tutor. I'm going to replace that with Call of the Ring. This is a fantastic start to your game when you do have a lot of opportunities to choose a ring bearer with the ring tempting you. My next cut is Mirkwood Backs, mostly because there is not a ton of token creation or sacrificing in this deck. There's plenty of sacrificing, but you're not sacrificing tokens per se. And I am going to replace that with Living End because you do have a lot of sacrifice effects in the deck, and this is going to be a great win con. My last cut is Harnessed by Force, mostly because the rate isn't really going to be super great on this because you're not making a ton of extra mana. And I am going to replace that with Witch King Sky Scourge, just because I think this is a great way to top out your curve.